feel free. I just want to warn you before we get
Dr.
started.
Eva is the best. Oh, was that too early?
That's good. Now
We'll
everybody's
have my
cautious of
classes
what
here.
they're gonna say.
Have my classes here. You gonna have the classes here?
Have my classes here.
Yeah. All the your class kids over here. Okay.
Beck, why don't you say something about Cat? Sorry to capture it.
So that's a speech class.
Oh, the little red light's on. I think it's live.
No, those are all already.
Oh.
They've been on for a while. Now
What?
I think we are live.
Uh-oh.
Hey!
Sorry, I'm sorry. It's my fault.
No worries.
Hey, how are you?
That is so nice to keep them from the class. Oh, I have to be careful what I'm saying.
From the Bill High School, yes. I saw him. Yeah, let me know when you're ready.
Oh, you want to just give it a few minutes for folks to show up?
Oh, okay. A few more minutes, okay. We are on live.
Oh, we are. Well, in that case, hey.
We are on live, but we can.
Yeah, want to get started?
Yeah, you tell me. Right?
If we're live, please. This
Oh,
is
we can keep talking.
on. We can talk.
Yeah.
Find a way to keep them entertained.
Oh, I'm gonna entertain. Oh, right. Knock knock.
Who is there?
That's all I had. Wait a minute. Orange. Orange.
Apples.
Aren't you glad I didn't say bananas, but I didn't get to it? Yeah. Yeah, I'm terrible at jokes. Yeah, if we want to get started as folks trickle in.
We can do that if,
Okay.
if you are.
Oh, I'm totally.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, let's get started. We are live, right? Good, very good. Thank you. Welcome to the Dean's Forum. Will you be using the PowerPoint to show me things? Okay, good. All right. Welcome to the Dean's Forum again, as I said. Today we're going to be talking about promoting diversity on our campuses. That is all the Weatherford College campuses. For many students, before I introduce our panel to you guys, just a very quick notation here. For many students, the word diversity or inclusiveness is a relative term in the sense of its relevance in the context that we are going to discuss today. Studies have shown that successful inclusive education happens primarily through accepting, understanding, and attending to student differences and diversity, which can include the physical, cognitive, academic, social, and emotional well-being. We often talk of diversity, or when we talk about diversity, as some of us may be somewhat uncomfortable because the only thing that comes to mind is race. However, as we are about to learn today, diversity is more than just race or ethnicity. For many students, the non-homogeneous composition of the college or university population becomes their introduction to the world as it is, a departure from their homogeneous community. Such as high school and could be challenging For those who are already familiar with diverse communities, the multi-ethnic, multicultural campus environment is an affirmation of their experience. How we perceive those challenges of non-homogeneity will determine or shape our readiness for the global workforce. It's even more of a challenge to some of us from rural communities who also attend small colleges in rural communities. So, how do we begin to address diversity if we are faced with the situation or in preparation for potential encounter, or our willingness to dialogue based on our conceived notion? So, ladies and gentlemen, diversity is conceptualized as appreciation of individual differences, unique abilities, and values in any social construct. So, that having said, I'm going to stop right there so I don't give away a whole lot of information. And I will now introduce our panel to you. I'm going to start.
Oops, technical difficulties, my apologies.
That's all right. I know their names, but I just like their names to appear there for you. Okay, very good. Okay, we have me, of course, your faithfulness, Alex Ibe, and we have Dr. Daniel Umira, your dean here at this campus. We have Dr. Laura Overstreet, our sociology professor. We have Dr. Deborah Krager. She's the director of our trio. And we have Dr. Norma Jones, our speech guru. All right, on that note, I will let Dr. Jones take over right now. Thank you.
Hey, what's up?
Hi.
Hi. I'm not gonna try to crowd dive, all right? So we're gonna do poll everywhere. Anybody ever try that stuff? Poll everywhere, live polling? Yeah, all right, we're doing it. Then we're gonna go through a series of questions to discuss diversity, and then we'll end some final thoughts. Cool beans? All right, let's get started. So text Norma Jones 387-2-37607. Cell phones are encouraged. Cell phone rates will apply, and all those other disclaimers that AT&T would like me to tell you.
That's a disclaimer right there.
So the body of the text is my name 387, and then the number you're texting it to is the 37607. Where's your phone? Go get it.
We can just teamwork.
Perfect. All right.
Different learning styles. Awesome.
All right, so once you've sent that information, you get a confirmation message that says you've joined Norma Jones' session at Norma Jones 387, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes.
Everybody got there?
Yep.
Anybody still not there? Okay.
Hey, that's okay.
Remember, this is an on-campus event. What you put on there, what you text will be showing up live. And we do have campus security. So thou shalt not do something, untoward. Good? All right, from here, we have two sets of types of questions. The first is multiple guess, choice, right? You have either A or B, and you'll be able to type A, send, or B, send. Good? We'll also be using word clouds. This is fun. So answer as many times as you like, one word or hyphenate multiple word phrases, such as if your favorite band is Queen, then I applaud your taste. Okay? Then you can just type in Queen. If your favorite singer is Lady Gaga, put the hyphen between the Lady hyphen Gaga. Again, I applaud your taste. All right. If you decide to agree with another word that's already on there, that word will actually get bigger and bigger, just like a word cloud. Cool beans? Questions? Okay, keep this in mind as we go along. If you decide you want to have like multiple words, as long as they're not part of the same phrase, just send them in a separate text. Questions? Going once. Going twice. Sorry. All right.
I made the mistake of bringing my phone. It was
Just
clearly
use his.
technological
Just use
overkill.
his behind you.
Yeah.
This is awesome. All right. So with this in mind, let's try a poll. Who is our favorite band singers? Let's just test this out. Queen, yeah. Coltrane, Bon Jovi, Metallica, Mozart. Ooh. George.
George. He's a good team. He's a good singer.
Rio the song? As in Duran Duran, or Rio a band?
But that's
Queen, ZZ Top, AC/DC, nice.
Ooh. Everybody like Queen? The
Lady
majority.
Gaga, thank you. Johnny.
Legend.
Johnny.
Legend.
Johnny Legend.
Oh,
They didn't hyphenate.
They didn't hype it.
Okay.
So it can be separate.
so there's a couple of Garths. Avenged. Oh,
Probably Avenged Sevenfold.
nice. The Fray. Okay. Yes. So we got ZZ Top ZZ. Okay. The Beards will do it. It's okay. Nice. We got some good heavy metal. Got Aerosmith, of course. Little Texas. Is that a band? Little Texas. Don't have one, seriously?
Gotta do something about that.
That's
do
me.
something
I
about
don't
that.
have one.
I know who sent that. Professor Castillo sent that.
He's a cultured man. What are you talking about?
Okay. Scorpions, all right. So, this makes sense? Yeah? All right. Ready for like a legit question?
Shoot, go ahead, Dr. Jones.
All right. When you hear the word diversity, what does it mean to you, David Bowie? What are the next poll? What are the next poll? David Bowie, I will use that as a starting discussion point. Because I love that guy.
What's the question, Doc?
So, when you hear the word diversity, what does it mean to you? Different food, androgyny, yeah. Very David Bowie appropriate. Ooh, variety.
Variety's big, huh? That's
Yeah.
that's really quite a few people are going for that.
All right, everybody good? Still going? Going on? I'm sorry?
You said the word gets bigger as it's used more?
Yeah.
More people use it. You got a bunch of people that are going for variety and inclusive.
Non-conformity, different cultures, yeah. Still going? Many ate having met. Ooh, that's long. All right.
That's coming from an ex-cop, so that's, you gotta understand the context here. No offense, Vern.
Subliminal hints.
Food.
Nathan, you had something? Okay. What else do we mean by variety? I used more than once or twice.
Buffet.
Buffet.
Mhm.
We're on to food metaphor.
Food. Food, right?
Okay. How is variety a good thing?
It gives you many different aspects of any one given day. Like if you go to a car lot and you see that it's a Ford dealership, they've got 18 different varieties of 18 different cars instead of just a F-150 pickup.
Right, right.
You have optional choices to get exactly what you want or what you prefer. But to society, I would say it's more along the lines of you can see that you aren't just like everybody else. You're unique in your own creation, just like everybody else is unique unto you.
Yeah. Anything to add about why variety could be a good thing?
It's the idea of the melting pot. Everybody brings their own ideas and cultures and backgrounds into certain situations, and it changes your perspective on the way you look at things.
Ah. Before we get to how that's useful in, say, an educational setting, like we're in one right now, right? Can variety be bad? Yes? How? Why? Yeah?
Say, for example, this poll that you're doing, with all the different choices that everybody in here is doing.
Yeah? Is it confusion or is it, what are we thinking?
Maybe too much information?
Ah, okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. The QO, so there's a sense that variety can get out of hand, right?
Overwhelming, yeah.
Right? So it could get overwhelming. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. So now let's bring the good and the bad into education environment, higher ed. So let's think about the good and let's start with the good. How is it a helpful thing? How is it a beneficial thing? Diversity.
Well, if everyone come together,
Uh-huh.
interact.
Well, hang on.
Say it again.
Talking to the, yeah.
It just allows everyone to come together and like just interact and meet people that are different from you. That's all.
How's that a good thing? Like, yeah, you got all of us who are different in the room, yeah. But how's that helpful? skin color, this bland, this hair color. Yeah?
More or less.
Okay. All right. Sir? Well, whatever you can.
I'm sorry. I agree with just about everything you said. I think that diversity is great. I mean, you get to see and understand another culture. You get to see there are some inherent differences between cultures, but you can benefit from that by seeing like how they treat elders in different countries, like in Japan and China, and you can benefit from that. And instead of looking at it in the negative aspect, you can look at it at, okay, this is partly why they have a certain mindset, or this is partly why maybe they think or do things a certain way. This is how can I incorporate that to my life to benefit from it. It's not necessarily all negative, and like you said, that it is when you have a lot of different cultures who step together in one area. I mean, there have been wars, there have been assassinations and stuff in the past between a lot of different cultures, different ethnicities, and that's something that we all have to try to move forward from, to work through. But I think it's about the mindset that you have going into it. If you have a mindset and you're just looking for something to cause some sort of
Distance?
mhm.
Yep, yep.
And like something that's going to try to cause tension and to antagonize people, you're going to find it.
Mhm.
So it's, if I may, get into your personal
Sure.
space.
Go
It's
ahead.
this distance, right, versus, hey, how are you?
Good to see you.
Yeah. Is that what you're saying? And, yeah, that one in it up.
Yes.
You can throw it.
So, the question was, why is diversity a good thing?
Or variety.
Okay. Well, as humans, one of our major advantages is the ability to cooperate
Yes.
towards a common goal
Yes.
in solving problems. And diversity lends itself to that.
Yes.
If you pack a room full of the same people, you're going to get the same potential solutions to the
Right.
problem. If you pack a room full of different people with different backgrounds and different perspectives, you're going to have a variety of possible solutions and presumably a better chance at finding one that works. Maybe not the best one,
Yeah.
but one that works.
Yeah. If I may add to that, anybody watch football? Anybody like get football sports teams, right? Everybody has a different role. Can you imagine a football team and they're all quarterbacks?
It wouldn't be football.
It'd be a hot mess.
Yes.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that it's not necessarily based on a culture, it's a variety of perspectives perhaps? Yes? Okay. So we're getting away from the skin color thing. Yeah? Generations, backgrounds, where we live, what we like to eat,
Nationality.
donuts, nationalities. Sir?
A perfect example is when we had the speech class with our campus security officer. We kind of separated it with, the veterans to the people who had never served, never had any background.
The clueless, got it.
Right. So, by doing that, they had taken some good ideas away from the people who didn't have that experience or background. And so it was a lot easier to realize how lost they were in certain scenarios. So when you added that variety back to the group and how quickly that scenario changed to, oh, we actually can do this, like we can actually, defend ourselves in situations. That little bit of cultural change is what really brought a lot of people to the light of like the difference of and how that can be beneficial.
And if I may just add a little bit of information to that, Sergeant Hickey was nice enough to come into my speech class to give a talk about campus safety, including all aspects such as, if there's, weather issues, and one of which was how to blockade a door. And so we had the rest of the class try to blockade the door. 2 minutes later, it was not blockaded. And we had our 2 veterans, it took, about 15 seconds? About 15 seconds, and so a lot of, as he said, the non-veterans or folks who hadn't served, as I said, clueless in my case, they taught us something completely new, and you're nodding because you were there, a skill set that is invaluable.
बहुत भाई
So one inclusive means that you include people in those because
Right.
you actually find a way to include them in the discussion.
Right. And if I may, this was one of the ideas we had to encourage that inclusivity. And I think you mentioned a University of Michigan study about how do we allow or how do we ask for more voices, right? And if you don't really want to talk but you still want to at least contribute in a way, this allows for that. So this is something, Dr. Eva was nice enough to allow us to bring in. Ooh, added more variety. Okay. Anything else, inclusive wise? Good, bad, before we move on? Toss it back.
You
Okay.
So going back to that idea of, the variety of stuff, the way we were always trained was to not see color as much as we saw the uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes for this. It's, you're not black or white. We're all students at the same campus. We're all here trying to learn, common goals,
Right.
common topics, common subjects. So instead of viewing that, I can't work with him because he's gay or he's black or whatever have you.
He's got red hair.
He's got red hair. That's a student.
got
Oh,
I
tattoos.
might have a really good idea about this subject. I need to go approach him to talk to him about, the project,
Right.
the speech, or that's the best way to be inclusive is not view the differences but view the similarities.
Interesting, yeah. But may I ask too then, can we be extremely blind to those differences? Or do we take them in as part of stuff, right? We are very similar, we are human. Are we different in ways? And, as you said, variety is a good thing. Let's consider how we might be able to balance that. That would be for me this for us to consider that. Okay. Not that we're gonna do all of it. Alright, may I move on to, alright. Now, we've kind of said we're not going to base diversity just purely on skin color, race, where we're from, some type of background. We're gonna be a lot more, right, inclusive. So, what are some challenges that students are facing in community colleges? Money? Yes? Yeah? Rejection? Ouch. Still got a couple? Okay. And if I may ask, we do have two deans here, as well as Dr. Gregory was part of TRIO, to, consider some of these and again, I don't want to spend too much time going into the lack, because these are issues. And are these outside of some specific ones, blind versus seeing, deaf versus hearing, are these things aspects that pretty much challenge every student? Just you.
Now that only applies to certain students that are going through that have to live with that.
Right.
Some people don't have.
Exactly. Right. abilities, lack of support. I like us to keep this in mind, right? Not necessarily chat about it too much, but keep these in mind. Because this is coming from this room. Money is an issue, financial is an issue. But how many, are we the only ones? Do you think the nice part about inclusion is that maybe we help each other with some of these issues? And I'm hoping that since, we do have two deans here and ma'am, is to be able to see some of these and that these can become action items. Yes? All right. Can I see the next one? I think. I think the next one, ma'am, is yours about. Let's see. Oh, back. There we go. I'm sorry, this is, back this way? No, this is not showing up. Okay. Is that showing up? Okay, so if it were properly showing up, my apologies. It did? Okay. It should say, I think you had. Oh, go to the next one. This one, let's go. Okay.
It was just something about.
Yeah, so if this is where on campus do you see the greatest diversity, would you like to just wing through this one? Or would you like me to try to fix the slide?
Oh, I see. I don't care. Okay, so, we don't have the, you'll have to just talk about this a little bit. When you look across campus, where do you see the greatest diversity? In classrooms? In the library? In tutorials in the library? Yeah, are there places where there's less diversity on campus than other places? Among staff and faculty? I don't know what's going on behind the arm,
Oh,
looking up
ignore it.
above me,
I'm
so
trying to fix it.
I could dance up here and you'd look at me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix it, sorry.
Okay. Okay, I just wanted you to think about that, but the next one is, inclusion was mentioned just a minute ago, and it involves encouraging and applauding self-expression, right? And you were talking about that quite a bit as well, so.
That's us.
Inclusion involves encouraging and applauding self-expression. Where on campus do you experience the most inclusion?
Ah.
Online. Study hall, those go together. Group projects. Clubs.
So we got some parties here.
Get together events. In the hallway. Student services. I thought I saw that, yeah. So. Still text. Yes, I'm ready. Just give me a second.
Library, awesome.
Okay, so the top three look like to be classes, online, and in the library. So how is inclusivity promoted in the classroom? Or how could we include that in the classroom?
Well, there's certain professors that throughout their lecture, they give momentary pauses for feedback from the students, and they don't just let one student speak. It becomes a back and forth between professor and students. And they'll also take that as doing more than just pausing for feedback. They'll give us actual little group projects and assignments where we have to get up and go around and talk to our classmates and come up with ideas to answer scenarios and then feed that back across the rest of the class. That gives more inclusion for all of us to get a different mindset from other people as well as get the professor's point of view on a specific topic.
So there are intentional activities to try to cultivate that exchange. Any other ideas? Does this happen in your classroom? Can you think of any other ideas? Yeah.
Our English teacher, Miss Smith, she does a really good job of including everybody. So what she'll do is she'll give an open question from the class, and you know, 2 or 3 people will answer pretty consistently. But then she realizes that some of the people at the back may not answer, and so she'll specifically start asking, "Hey, what do you think about this?" Because she wants to get those other ideas out there. She wants to get those other experiences and those other thoughts. Because some of them are really good, but they're just quiet. They don't really feel like maybe it's the best idea or what have you. So she kind of pushes to get that extra input.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Nathan.
And the second was online. Can anyone speak to that? Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, mine
No.
wasn't online, but
Okay, go ahead then. I didn't see you. Raise your hand.
I was just going to say, being in classes and getting to talk with other people and to be included. I was in a Smith class as well, and one thing I absolutely loved that we did was we did have like these kind of small group projects where we would get together, like 3 or 4 people, and we would go over a short passage of text, and we would try to analyze it and see what was going on, and try to kind of identify what we thought was going to happen, what might have caused certain things, and we just got to go and hear other people's viewpoints, and we got to hear and discuss, and it was just ongoing conversation, and then after a while we would all go and discuss what we came up with, and we would hear other people's viewpoints, and I thought it was a really good way to kind of get to see other people's thoughts, and to kind of just introduce yourself.
Dr. Weatherford, if I may just have them comment a little bit on the, I'd like to hear them say something about the get-together events or cafeteria. How do they feel in cafeteria or when they get together in the event? Yeah, inclusiveness. I'd like somebody to answer that. Interested to hear that. Yes.
I can't catch, okay. I think the danger of community students is not feeling part of the community. That's how I did it. I was a community student.
a little earlier, when we were still on the varsity, some of you talked about culture. I hear a lot about culture, and also a little bit about race. Let's assume you are in a situation, an encounter. Again, you are in a room with someone of different culture. Maybe their culture is such that you cannot relate to, maybe in terms of communication wise, they don't have that openness in terms of communication, or maybe they are shy, because they are not assimilated to the dominant culture. Now, I'm talking about, say, we are talking about maybe LGBT, or maybe somebody of different ethnicity, or maybe somebody of different socio-economic, okay? You are all together. How would you bridge that communication? How would you have someone else to be able to open up to you or include them in what you do as a unit? I would like anybody to discuss that, and also the professors in here. How would you take that as a teaching moment in your classroom when you have such a situation to address, or have your students to come together or work on a common purpose? Students, faculty, anybody can take up that issue.
Part of it just comes from showing them that you legitimately do care. You know, I try and show up 10, 15 minutes early to class and just, as people come in, ask them how they're doing, and try and strike up a conversation and let them know that I do want to talk to them, even if it's before class or after class or during class. It's been my experience, at least for my subject, that the best kind of learning comes from student questions. So part of that is just an attempt to get the ball rolling, to get people communicating with each other and with me. Anybody else?
No. I think it's important to take risks and show yourself making mistakes in class, which I'm very, very good at. Showing mistakes and not always knowing the right answer. I think, especially for people who don't come from college educated family, it's very, very intimidating coming in, and rather than portray yourself as the one that knows, given that it's okay not to know, I guess. Make it okay not to know for a while.
Dr. Jones, can we?
Oh, actually, if I may add to that, one of the things I do is this. If you've been in my class, you know I do this, right? I have some letters behind my name, but I don't use them in a classroom. I'm Norma. And I try to level that hierarchy. Yes, I have to grade you, I'm sorry, but I try to level that hierarchy. The other thing I try to do is I make it kind of clear that, yes, I have opinions about everything, right? You've met me. I have opinions. David Bowie, awesome. Lady Gaga, yeah. But those don't matter in this setting, right? I might be extreme left, I might be extreme right. It doesn't matter, okay? Because the idea is for us to be able to address these things and to talk about them. So I think earlier you said there are no dumb questions. That's what I try to model, right? There's no, let's talk about this versus I have a definitive right or wrong. So that's one of the ways I try to. And sorry, adding one more is not everybody feels comfortable talking. I'm an extreme extrovert. I've taken the Myers-Briggs. I'm somewhere off the charts, like 80, 90% extreme extrovert. I can talk to a wall. This is me. But a lot of folks might not feel comfortable contributing that way. So some folks I do it in writing. So I have participation both, verbally and in writing, so that I'm still getting that feedback, but not necessarily in just one way. So, and sir, you had something? Or do you want me to move on?
Can I add something just real quick? I work in student services, as everybody knows.
probably agree to that, is when we start talking to you about advising and taking these classes, we always tell you to be that student. And what that means is be that active student in class and ask the questions, and don't be afraid to ask the questions, because probably 7 or 8 of the students in that same class have the same question you have. So be an active student in class. And one of the things, when I first saw online pop up on this, I thought, well, that's kind of odd for inclusivity. But then I thought about it, and I thought that you mentioned shyness. And having that ability to participate, just like we're doing here today, but still have some anonymity, is something that's really important, I think, to a lot of people. There might be, some of these answers may not have ever been spoken, but they can still be shared. And so I think this is great. So.
Dr. Bashri,
Would you like me to move to the next question or just
Please, go ahead.
add to
Yes,
that?
sure.
Okay. If you want to add, is it there? Actually, there's a question poll rather than this, but have we gone over it?
This one then?
Yeah, and this could be an online classroom or any classroom. Can you have a classroom that's diverse but not inclusive? And this is a simple yes or no. So,
A or
that's
B.
where you go. So everybody's saying yes. So, we're kind of getting into that, but I guess I would add to what we were talking about. I mean, there are intentional ways to make situations inclusive. In an online class, is the subject matter about inclusivity? For example, do you add, in human development class, do you add a lot of case studies of different kinds of human trajectories? That allows us to look at more understanding instead of where, people are different, but trying to actually focus on that. We have some no's.
Who said
So
no
if
and
you have
why?
people who are, if you have a group where people are very different, does it assume that it's all inclusive? Am I reading it right?
Run that by me again.
If you have, what are we saying here? Can a classroom be diverse without being inclusive?
Right,
And someone
right.
said no. Or some people said, no, it can't be diverse. If you have a variety of people, does that mean that you have also heard from everyone? No. I'll give you an example. Walking around the UTA, they have the big area where everybody sits and eats. And it might be the same here. And so there are people from all walks of life, and they're all at separate tables. Is that diverse? Is it inclusive? So, sometimes we're at the area where we have lots of people represented, but we don't have an appreciation, or we're not really tapping into those benefits that we talked about with variety, right? And it's hard to take that step, sometimes. My class today would do the privilege walk, so they all line up, and they take one step forward or back, depending on 50 items. Did your parents go to college? Step 1, 4. Did you have 50 books in the home? Did your parents have a drug problem? Blah, blah. And so then, after everybody's taken that position, they look around and we talk about it. Why are these? What are the factors there? Why is it that we don't discuss these? And people were feeling some who moved so far forward that we ran out of space. They were like, walking toward on the desk like this. We're thinking, was that, what's going on here? And why do we have 3 people at the very back? And how do we feel about that? So I think sometimes inclusivity needs to be the topic, and that could maybe move the diverse group toward inclusion.
Let me just, can I add something? And this is from my experience attending one of the college earlier on, Midwestern State University. And they're very good for bringing in students from all areas, right? But in my days, that was many years ago, but 20 years ago, what I noticed on campus, you'll have the Indians together, you'll have the whites together in the only group on the campus, you'll have the Caribbean students, the African students, so everybody were in their own bubble. And I was like, wow, the first impression you'll get, wow, that's great, that's awesome, lots of diversity, international students, lots of international students. But there were no main interaction between the different groups. And that was like one thing I was like, you know. But when the Caribbean students, we were very active on campus, so we'll put on cultural shows, and everybody would be there. And we'll have different events showcasing our culture, and people like yours and social events, we did a lot of those, and they would come in then. But on the campus itself, you know, if no deliberate attempts were made to get into to interact, you'll see everybody in their own little group and own little bubble. So that's a very good example on the campus.
Well, on that note still, one of the things nowadays, a lot of people get engaged with their cell phone. You see everybody walking. Even musicians walking,
Right now,
they're on
we
their
still have our cell phones.
And, or they have an earplug. One of the things that Dr. Farmer, our new president, talked about is that when they walk around campus, he tries to distract students. When you see them on the phone, just say hello, hi, to engage them. So as more people see you and walk up to you and say hello, the less you cling onto your phone. So you begin to feel you are included, you know, you begin to feel accepted, you know, and that is the culture we like to begin with by just saying that hello to anybody you see as soon as you walk into this building. In my classroom, every day, I say hello to every one of my students they walk in. I call out their name and say hello or say something to them. So there's that interaction. Every day I do that. No matter how many students I have in the class, as you walk in, I call out your name and we say hello. And then you will have to engage your classmates as well. So inclusivity, meaning being acceptance of people different from you, being able to reach out to people, and if that means just saying hello, how are you? And one of the other things, again, since we have all the professors in here, the students, is that it doesn't have to be in the classroom. Again, it could be outside, in the cafeteria, it could be on the hallway, it could be on the line. You see somebody, just say, hi, how are you? What's your name? And start a conversation. That conversation could change a whole lot of things because as we say, diversity is so important, and why we're having this discussion across college campuses is because we are preparing you for the workforce. We are preparing you for tomorrow, not just for today. Because if you learn to interact with other people different from you, then you will be a fit in a workforce or in a workplace. And that's the direction we're going, yes.
Can I say something quickly? It is from our choir director. I'm in the choir on Weatherford campus, Rob Laney. And the message is, listen across the choir. I just thought of that because you said that about, you know, but, and it's a totally different concept. You know, you're singing alto, you're singing soprano, and you're all into your own part. And so we engaged in lots of exercises of, can you hear what the soprano, can you hear what the basses are doing? And that's kind of a good analogy. I think maybe we could listen across the choir.
And again, some time ago, we talked about different barriers. We talked about autism spectrum. If you recall, we did that some time ago. And the thing is this, if you are in that classroom, again, we're talking about diversity. Diversity is way outside of just race alone. It encompasses so many things. So you're in that classroom, you have a student or two who have autistic, spectrum. How would you, as a classmate, accommodate or include that student in conversations or in group work? How would you, as the professor in the classroom, manage that classroom setting to make sure there is inclusivity amongst the various students in your class? How would you make sure one person, as the gentleman mentioned a little earlier, one person is not dominating the conversation in the classroom, right? So that's what we do. Dr. Jones, please.
Did you want the previous slide about what happens to limit inclusion?
Dr. Prager?
Actually, it's yours. Did you, ma'am? Did you
I
want?
think we're about out of time.
Okay.
Keep going. We still have you.
Okay. This is yours.
Almost out of time. Okay. So we have talked about diversity, and I know we're out of time, so I guess I'll have to split it up. We talked about,
We have time, don't rush.
okay,
I thought we went till 3:30.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, keep going.
wow.
What happened you?
Cookouts.
Cookouts.
I love this group. Y'all awesome.
Cookout must be very good.
So we have some really great ideas going, and
Definitely cookouts.
Can you give us some ideas for online students while you're texting in?
Dr. Craig, while that is going on, you can tackle any of them.
Okay.
as
The
you
big
see
ones
fit.
is cookouts and music.
Yeah.
And actually, next Tuesday, they're going to have a cookout here on campus. And the truth already signed up to be here, so I know some of the people from the main campus will be here as well. But there are ways, we talk about all the benefits of diversity, and we talk about some of the challenges. And in the end, we want to know what we can do to help our campuses to get more diversified, to be more inclusive, and not just the Wise campus or Weatherford campus, but any community college campus around in the nation. So we're seeing cookouts. It seems to be a very popular one. Cultural exhibition, is that something we have had in the past on this campus? Might be something we want to attempt to try. And there are lots of great ideas. The important thing is that you gotta choose some and be willing to try some. Okay, you may not be able to do all, but you have to be willing to try it. You have, as someone said earlier, you have to be willing to take risk. Some of it might turn out to be very well, and then sometimes it may not be, but you did try. You could build on what worked. Movie nights,
Ooh.
ethnic literature classes. We have potlucks, online chat room events, blog debates, gathering events in the library, culture exchange. All wonderful. Did anybody thought about field trips? That some of you students could actually take a field trip to, this is a 2-year college, right? So you could actually take a field trip to a 4-year college as a campus group. That's one idea. It gives you exposure, whether it's out there in the city or another rural campus. That's the next way for you to go out and see something different, and also to interact with other students who have similar interests to you, like visiting a certain campus. Have you even thought about a study abroad program? I know that is something that we have had in the past on the main campus, where during summer there was some study abroad program. But as I said, one thing I want to encourage you to do is that some of your ideas, we're running out of time, I wouldn't keep you, have to go to class. Take them, get with your dean, your campus leaders, administrators, zero in on some of them. If you have to take it to your president at the Weatherford campus, do so. Because some of those ideas are excellent. And some of them, of course, you all could start even among yourselves as students. There are many leaders here, you as students, and you all could even start some activities and events on your own without even having to wait for your professors or administrators to kickstart it for you, okay? Before we conclude, what other ideas do you want to just share verbally? Any ideas?
One more thing, last month when we had the Dean's Forum at the Weatherford campus, I had mentioned something about what goes on at Abilene Christian University. One of the book reps came to my office and was talking to me about it. Is the idea of, I actually came from the president of Abilene, by having students, for every student to find maybe one or two other students that is different from them. different maybe in socioeconomic, maybe different in religion, maybe different in race, different. And they report to the president and they have like lunch. They started a lunch and then you will have lunch with all the collective students together. And that idea, I believe, is called Be Your Brother's Keeper or your, something to that effect. Yeah. I kind of forgotten it, but the premise of that is for people to begin to communicate and promote inclusiveness around campus. And that work, that has been going on for years, for more than a decade now. So the number keep growing and keep growing. You can start that here on the campus. It can come from faculty member or from students directly, and then you can go to your dean, and the dean will pay for the lunch. Okay?
Hey.
So I'm going to put that on the dean, so he can take you guys to lunch. And then you guys can continue to promote those ideas. Or I can even
I'll pay.
Yeah, he'll pay for the lunch.
Talk about it. I'll
Yeah,
spring for lunch.
Definitely. Again, there are so many ways we want to promote diversity and inclusiveness around campus. We can still go on. If you have...
Oh, that?
No.
Nathan's got his hand up, I think, right?
Yes.
Oh, see, I.
Oh! Jeremy's got to go in for the rescue.
Thank you, sir.
Earlier you were asking, how to best include people of diversity, and I think honestly it's ask questions. Where's your cultural background from? What kind of things did you learn, from overseas, or what kind of things did you learn from, going to rallies or going to events that you like, or if you don't have that gumption to ask questions, you're never going to learn how to include people.
Take Chris.
Very good. Very true.
Okay.
Very true. Communication is part of it too. So we have to start being more communicative, so when we communicate more appropriately. And I'm sure that Dr. Norma Jones is doing a good job in her speech class, teaching people how to start conversation. And the English professors as well teaches you that, how to start conversation. You strike this conversation. Just before we set it, I like to recognize all our faculty members here. We do truly appreciate your support, especially here at Wise County. You guys are awesome. You guys do a wonderful job. Okay, and I also have to acknowledge my good friend, Professor Castillo, from the Weatherford campus. He has been a very faithful member of this Dean's Forum from the inception. So I have not seen him miss one single one of them. So thank you for driving all the way from Weatherford down here today.
I need to get you lunch next time. You know that, right? You know that, right? Okay, so yeah.
And bring a friend.
I wasn't. You guys, I'm not too sure about.
If there are, do we have any more thoughts? If there are no more thoughts, I'm going to have Dr. Mira maybe give a comment or two.
A real quick comment. I just want to celebrate everything this year. I made a head count of how many were here altogether. It's 25. And out of the 25 that are here, how many of us identify ourselves as being outside of the dominant culture? Outside of the dominant culture. Hands up. Skidmore, come on, you're going to be a teacher pretty soon. Sergeant, outside of the dominant culture. And you can ask any reason why. Personally, I'm outside of the dominant culture because I was born overseas. I didn't learn English until I was a teenager. It's my second language. I'm learning Texan now.
What?
But bear in mind, the notion of diversity is everywhere you go. And the notion of inclusiveness, like Dr. Overstreet and Dr. Jones said, that notion of inclusiveness. I was a correctional officer once upon a time ago. And I worked in a level 3 yard. And they're really bad people, level 3. It goes from level 1 to 5. Level 3 is in the middle, so you get really bad people. And they would self-segregate. They would identify themselves as being one, when they would self-segregate. And that's how it was done. And as someone that was coming in, it took me a little bit
Guilty.
They're all in there for at least 12 months. 1129 is 11 months, 29 days. That's usually counting a year or more, as they're in state or federal prison. So they had one thing in common, but despite that one thing in common, they would self-segregate. Now, I'm not saying that we're a prison, but what we do here in American community colleges is the following. And this is where I'm going to leave off. As you move through your educational experiences, remember that these two words, lateral learning, you will learn from the people that are sitting with you or next to you. I was having a talk with Chief Weatherford. One of our students wants to join the Navy. And she was saying, well, how was it when you were in the service, Dr. Mayer? I said, well, I got yelled at a lot. I got yelled, right, Nathan? I was yelled at a lot.
Emphatic nods.
But you build tolerance to it, and you move forward. But just like Nathan said, the United States military is unique because you have an inclusive environment amongst a diverse group of men and women. And you learn on that lateral level. So as you go into your classes now, as you take your tests, as you move forward, as you go to the university and beyond, remember lateral learning. And it's the same with us. We're lateral teachers. So thank you very much for this opportunity, Dr. Ebe. And I want to thank every single one of you for being here. Thank you for your
Again, remember, if it is the last Monday of the month, it is the Dean's Forum. So the next Dean's Forum is in April and it's going to be in Weatherford. Thank you very much for attending.